Well, joining me now, former senior advisor to Newt Gingrich campaign, Randy Evans, and president of the Foundation for Democracy, Defense of Democracies, Cliff May. And Cliff, let's start with you because this is being described as why now, why with just 3 weeks left to go, why not? The Russians have been hacking for decades, Crimea, Ukraine, all the other reasons to do something. Why now?
Well, this is a very good point, Tom, because keep in mind that we've had the Russians have hacked the Pentagon, the Chinese hacked the Office of Personnel Management. Millions of people have their personal records stolen. The Navy has been hacked by Iran. Hollywood's been hacked by North Korea. Now, this is very little, and it's very late. The one thing that I do hope, and by the way, I suspect that the reason is to cast the presidency of President Trump's candidacy in doubt, to suggest that this is a reason why he won. And there's no evidence of that whatsoever. But it should cause the new administration to focus on cyber espionage and cyber warfare. By now, we should have very strong policies on that, and we should be making it very clear that there's going to be a cyber arms race. We're going to win it. And those who attack us are going to be punished very severely, not like today where you had individuals, companies, and government agencies that don't have any assets in the U.S., aren't coming to the U.S., they're being sanctioned. It's really kind of meaningless.
Well, and that's the other part, Randy, behind all of this is the head scratcher is because of the fact that, all right, so we're going to boot 35 probably in Russian intelligence people that we know about. We're going to boot them out, and probably tomorrow the Russians will boot 35 of ours out of Russia. It seems almost petty at this point. Why didn't they not do something before? And it just seems like it's too little, too late.
Tom, you're absolutely right. You have to ask yourself, why is it now? And the answer is really simple, which is it's the reason why no one in the world takes the United States seriously anymore. If indeed this presented a national security threat to our democracy, you would have thought President Obama would have done more than say, lean over in a private conversation and say, cut it out. He would have stopped it before the election. But if it's not serious enough to stop it before the election, why would it warrant punishment after the election? And if it warranted punishment after the election, why wouldn't it be real punishment instead of expelling diplomats, so that now President Putin has, or Prime Minister Putin has this convenient excuse on the eve of the Trump administration to kick out 35 U.S. diplomats just when you need the most eyes and ears on the ground? It just shows you why it is nobody takes this president seriously. He says one thing, but he means another. There is no red line. There is no serious national security risk. Basically, he's taking one more step to display his anger that they lost the election, that it was a repudiation of his policies by the American people, and he's mad about it.
Well, and it's my understanding that the White House even said today that no, the election wasn't affected by any hack of any kind. But Cliff, back to you. It appears as though the president is somehow trying to box in Vladimir Putin, but if you really think about it, is he really boxing in Donald Trump more than Vladimir Putin?
I'm afraid that's the case, and that is a problem. That is not what a president should be doing during his last weeks in office. What he should be doing, I would think, would be looking for places where they agree and handing things off in a way that can be more productive. Now, that clearly was not the case in terms of Middle East policy. I think that President Obama has left a huge mess that it's going to be very difficult for President Trump in the new year to clean up. And in terms of relations with Russia, what an inconvenient time for us to lose 35 or so diplomats if that's how Putin decides to respond to this. He's also mixing apples and oranges here. One thing is the cyber espionage. That's one subject. Another thing is the mistreatment of American diplomats. That's been going in Russia. That's been going on a very, very long time. To mix the two makes it very hard for people to understand what's going on and certainly to draw a lesson from this.
So, Randy, is President-elect Trump going to be able to clean this mess up on aisle 6, or is it going to take a long time?
Yeah, I know. I think President-elect Trump will move pretty quickly to bring order to things. I mean, one order that he'll bring is just strength. Just the strength to stand up, say what he means, mean what he says, and not have it be this kind of empty, rhetoric that goes on with President Obama. But the most difficult thing, which I agree with both you, Tom, and Clay, is this. which is he's given Putin a convenient excuse for retaliation. Why would you do that to your successor unless you wanted to undermine the person following you in office? And how is that in the best interest of the United States? How is undermining the peaceful transition of power by giving another superpower an excuse for retaliation good for the country? It's not good for the country, but we're getting to see the real Barack Obama here at the end.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing? That,
Yes.
You know, the hacking of the Pentagon, the Navy, the Office of Personnel Management, that should have been responded to in a very robust fashion. Instead, he's responding to the hacking of John Podesta's Gmail account.
And
I think that also sends a very bad message about whether or not this country is serious at the moment.
As we all learned as parents, is you don't punish the child months after they've done something. You've got to connect the punishment and the action in order to get the message across. Well, listen, Randy Evans, Cliff May, gentlemen, thank you both. Good to see you.
Thanks, Tom.
Good to see you.
We're coming right back. So.